You're listening to the Archaeology Podcast Network.
Welcome to episode 20 of A Life in Ruins podcast, where we investigate the careers of those living a life in ruins. Here we are again with another edition of Our Ruined Lives. I'm your host, Carlton Gover, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, COVID Johnnon and David Howe. God damn it, David. Our guest tonight is our friend Stefan Milo, the popular YouTuber with a channel by the same name, Stefan Milo. Stefan, it is awesome to have you on the podcast. We're a huge fan of your YouTube channel and the content that you produce. So, dude, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, no worries. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I've prepared that line. I've been waiting on that line for weeks.
Oh, I'm so excited
to every episode, you said, right?
Yeah. Every episode, that's it.
I'm so
sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
And you do it without any sort of payment, too. That's amazing.
I know, yeah.
You don't even get stickers.
Punishment.
You don't even get stickers either.
Yeah, we got to get you something. I'm making those Go Grow Your Spinach t-shirts, and you'll be sure to get a signed copy of that.
Can't wait. Living in Portland, Oregon, we grow a lot of spinach out here. Spinach-friendly people.
Well, good stuff, man.
Oh, yeah. Carlton, you want to go?
No, dude, absolutely.
I was going to say, now that you mentioned Portland, how does a fine British gent like yourself find himself in the Pacific Northwest?
Or a limey.
Yeah, a limey. Well, I married a Yank. That's all there is to it, really. I had no driving ambition to move to America. It's fine. I give you guys like a 6.7 out of 10. But yeah, my wife's American, so we met in Europe and decided we would move to Oregon, and here I am.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. I'm a big hipster, occasional weed smoker, so Portland, Oregon's fine by me.
Oh. Well, I wish I could comment. Wait.
You did your undergraduate degree at the University of Sheffield, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did my degree in archaeology at the University of Sheffield. I graduated in 2010. And that is really the limit of my archaeology career. It's a very short span. As you guys know, it's not always the easiest profession to find a job in. After I graduated university, it was sort of in the height of the recession, the last recession, and archaeology jobs were few and far between. And I was probably a bit optimistic in applying for them, as I only had a bachelor's. It's probably more realistic to get a job if you have a master's, it seems. But yeah, I ended up being a teacher and traveled around Europe for a bit, and that's where I met my wife.
Nice.
Oh, and in the meantime, I'd sort of developed the hobby of making videos, and I thought, I'll make videos about archaeology, because I don't know if you guys are aware, there is some questionable content on YouTube in the world of archaeology, and I thought, that's a load of bollocks. I know, hashtag Göbekli Tepe.
Dude, I am a huge fan of your YouTube. It is one of like the only shows that I know when there's an episode like it's going to be good. And I love how you always say, is that Ettore art that you use for these covers?
Yeah, Ettore, yeah. We've been working on the art for my videos since November, I think, was the first one.
Yeah, he introduced me to you,
great.
Actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
He introduced you to me?
Yeah, I had messaged him saying like, hey, can you draw this dog burial thing? Because we'd been chatting, and then he was like, hey, do you know Stefan Milo? Because he actually makes really good stuff, and I've been like painting stuff for him too. And I was like, what? And then I saw your page, and I was like, uh-oh. Like, this guy's doing it.
I feel like I discovered Ettore from following you.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at this small niche world we live in.
I know, we're all just circling Ettore.
But you have over like 10,000 views for all of your videos. And some of these, you have close to 100,000 views. I mean, how bad the Younger Dryas was, over 100,000. And I love them. The only thing I hate about them, it's not even you. It's the fucking comments of people just putting dumb shit of I don't know. They're aggravating. Like, I have a hard time not looking at your videos without going at the top comments. And you have a pinned comment on your Younger Dryas one. Just in case I was not clear in the video, this is not an attack on impact hypothesis. It may well be true and serious scientists are investigating the idea. However, I do strongly object to the accusation that archaeologists and scientists are hiding the truth from the public. Like, the fact you had to put that there for people to read is just fucking gold. And like, all these other dumbass replies are just insane. Like,
yeah, they get pretty crazy. Like, and I didn't even anticipate this response. This only sort of came about, or like, I realized that there was this whole other side to the world of archaeology when I made a video and I had the audacity to say that the Egyptians built the pyramids. And like, the comments underneath were like, I can't believe this fucking moron. He thinks the Egyptians built the pyramids. Like, you've got to respect his bravery for being so stupid.
Dude, I use your criticism of the Solutrean hypothesis video for my class, by the way.
Oh, no way. That's the ultimate compliment to me.
Because we talk about it, and I'm like, I make them watch it in class, and I can watch it with them. Because I'm like, this is it. This is all you idiots need to know. And then I make test questions based on your video. So they're at least aware of you.
When I first found you, I was like, oh no, is he like going to be one of these crazy dudes, or is he going to be doing a good job? And I immediately went down and I saw you had the Cerruti Mastodon site on there. And I was like, all right, here it is. I'm going to find out about this guy. And I clicked it and you were like, yeah, it sucks. And I was like, yes, one of us.
Yeah, it's funny. All the comments. I really love it when someone leaps to my defense. I have this longtime viewer called Full Swing. Shout out to that guy. And he always leaps to my defense. And there's a lot of people in the comments you can read that think that I am this guy Full Swing. And this is like my alter ego where I can just like swear at everybody and tell them to get lost.
You have your own meta conspiracies now. That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fun. I've got a lot of videos in the works that will attract some interesting comments. I'm interviewing Jens Nottroff tomorrow, who's an archaeologist at the German Institute of Archaeology, who's worked at Göbekli Tepe, and we're going to set the record straight. I feel like going crazy and making a video on Neolithic Egypt just to really antagonize people.
Oh, stir the fucking pot, dude, please.
I know, yeah.
Stir the moche pot.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you got your degree at Sheffield. Where does this like love of making videos come from? Were you doing that when you were younger? Or is this something that you just figured out you're really good at and that you have 35,000 subscribers? Or
yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm really good at it. I started making videos when I lived in Serbia and I was teaching English. And again, I felt that growing up in the West, a lot of people, all they know about Serbia is the collapse of Yugoslavia. Of course, all of that's important to know, but it's a whole country and people with a lot more going on than its modern history. And it's near to my heart because my granddad was from Serbia and I have a lot of family there. And I was like, I'm going to make some videos just about life in Serbia. And I only made 2 because this girl I was dating at the time basically told me like, why does anyone care what you have to say about anything? And totally like burst my idea. And I forgot the password to that YouTube account. So they're still on the internet and I have no way to take them down, but they're terrible. And but yeah, it just kind of developed from there. I wasn't really successful in any way doing it, and I sort of came to the conclusion that I probably wasn't successful because I wasn't talking about what I'm interested in, which is archaeology and particularly prehistory. So I was like, sod it, I'll talk about that. The Egyptians built the pyramids and the rest is history.
Dude, fair enough. That's dope.
Yeah.
And I think you're a pretty successful YouTuber. I mean, based on the conversation we had yesterday, when you were at work and you got a compliment, would you like to retell that story for our audience?
Yes. So being a YouTuber isn't my full-time job. It may well be by the end of this year. That's one of my goals this year, but it isn't currently. And I was at my job. I work in an IT department at a local bank, and someone came in. I was fixing a printer, and someone said that they're a fan of mine, and I didn't really understand what they meant. So I just kind of responded with like, yeah, everyone loves the IT department. We're the best. and then I got home, and she had written me an email saying that she was a fan of the show and blah, blah, blah. And I wish I'd have known at the time, because I'd have taken a selfie with her in front of everyone. I'd have been, and the rest of the day at work, I was like, I'm a famous YouTuber, and you guys need to get my autograph or something. Because I'm heading for the big time, clearly.
Well, it's well earned, man. You do good stuff.
Yeah. I try. I really try. I have like a laser focus on improving the quality of my videos. Like I watch PBS Eons, and I say to myself, I'm going to be better than them. I'm going to destroy PBS Eons. They're fantastic. They do great work, and they're more than welcome to give me a highly paid job. But also I'm going to destroy them and be the best archaeology channel on the internet.
Right there with you. I'm in those DMs every day.
Yeah.
We're going to have to add that to the list of our ongoing feuds. Jane Goodall, PBS Eons.
Yeah.
What did you call her? Jenny D or Jenny G? Janie G?
Janie G.
God, I love that.
When you do these videos, are you writing like kind of like a paper, like a research paper into a script, or do you kind of just like have some points and then talk to the camera? Because they're like very well researched.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I really try.
Yeah.
I have 3 golden rules on my channel, because I'm aware that I'm not an expert, far from it. So I always, use reputable sources, academic sources. I always post those sources in the description. And I always try to very clearly say when I'm giving my personal opinion. And I feel like having those 3 rules is helping me maintain the quality of the videos.
Good.
But yeah, I basically research a lot. It's one of those things, research kind of snowballs. The more you read, it's almost like the more you don't understand, and you have to keep reading and reading. And
yeah,
some videos, get put on the back burner because I realize I don't know enough, and it's going to take me a long time to get to that point. So, but most of the time I basically write them like an essay. I've got the script all laid out, and, with footnotes and everything, so that I can quickly add them into the video. Because as well in the video, I put like a little number to indicate which source I got that specific piece of information from.
Oh, wow.
So I make it as easy as possible for someone to critique my work. That's the system, basically.
Dude, I have to say, like, I mean, that's what you do for YouTube is really good academia. I mean, as David mentioned, like it's well written. You have your sources, you talk about them, and just hearing you talk about like the more you read, the more you realize you don't know. And that's like all about what higher education is, and all about being a good academic is, because you ask any of those pseudo archaeologist idiots, they're like, oh, read this one person, and that's all you need. Here's your go-to information. And it's like, that's not how it works. It's like, as you said, you just read one thing and you go down rabbit holes at different sources, following their citations to read their full paper. Like anytime I read an article, I run it through Adobe and see who they cite the most, and then read those papers and see who they cite the most. And then, I'm 10 levels later with 100 articles to answer the questions I had about one article.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, that video on the Younger Dryas and how bad was it? I think I had over 30 sources in it, which is basically, a full piece of academic writing, at least at undergraduate level.
Yeah.
And and I know people are going to come at me with questions, and I do it for my own peace of mind because I don't want to put a video out there with some absolutely glaring error in. I mean, everyone makes mistakes. I just really try and avoid that as much as possible, just for my own peace of mind.
I mean, just for our audience to know, like if you go to his Younger Dryas Impact video, you put 19 sources there and you say, I couldn't fit all the sources, I ran out of room, click this link, and then you did full fucking citations for 39 sources. So, dude, that's amazing. Like that is just amazing scholastic work.
Yeah, I would say that like some master's students don't end up having that much, or that good of research skills, and those things it's huge. It's huge to have that on YouTube and produce this content for the public. It's just amazing, man.
Yeah, thanks. I try really hard. I mean, that video, excuse my French, that took fucking ages to research. And I've wanted to do the same thing for Göbekli Tepe. And thank God Jens Nordtroff agreed to be interviewed, because otherwise I was going to have to go to the same level of research, because when you touch on a subject that is really, to call a spade, it's really captured the attention of Graham Hancock. Like, you've got to have all your ducks in a row, because you're literally going to have thousands of people calling you an idiot as soon as you publish that video.
Yeah, his little army.
Yeah.
I fucking hate the Graham Hancock goons and the stuff that they produce. Like anytime I see a video where I'm like, this might be skeptical, they always quote his dumb ass. And I'm like, I already know I'm not going to enjoy this fucking thing. I mean, like the video David sent us yesterday in our group chat, I immediately was like, great, David just ruined my fucking evening.
Yeah. Yeah. To be clear, I totally understand their enthusiasm and passion for ancient history and prehistory, because that's something I share. But the level of evidence that you see in a lot of these videos is so poor. It's really terrible, to be honest.
Yeah. Speaking of terrible, let's wrap this session up and let's go to the next one. I'm kidding. This was great. I just had no better segue. All right. Welcome back to segment 2 of the episode 20 of Life in the Ruins podcast. What I meant by terrible in the last one was the podcast, not actually what Stefan was saying. But Stefan, I have 2 questions for you. The first being, or actually, wait the second, but answer the first one first. That's confusing. I'm going to ask you 2 questions.
What the fuck?
What's up with the spoon? I need to know the origin of that. And the second is, what did you want to talk about today?
Hold on, what fucking spoon?
Well, you must not watch his videos then.
Well, yeah, caught you out there.
Oh, dude, actually, I'm staring at it right now. You have a spoon in your fucking hand in Younger Dryas. I never really noticed that.
Yeah. So the spoon mic, my viewers, they go crazy if I'm not plugging my microphone into a spoon now. It's become a bit of a thing. It just basically started because I was making a video one day in an anorak, a raincoat, as you Americans would call it. And I basically had to delete the whole video because all you could hear was just like of me moving around in this anorak. I also have no idea what to do with my hands when I appear on camera. So it's sort of almost like a prop too. So I just thought...
That is always weird.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought, bollocks to it. I'll clip this microphone to a spoon and just use it like a regular microphone. And the internet went wild. It was a sensation. So it's just kind of stuck around. And I use the same spoon every time. I'm not, we got to care for the environment here. I'm not throwing plastic spoons all over the place.
That's your Portland coming off.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask that. Is it, you got to like throw your viewers off and throw in like a gold spoon or something, or put like a chip spoon just to see if people are paying attention. Like
or
Carlton.
just something subtle like a spork.
Spork.
Well,
You could auction off your spoons. Like you could be like, this is the original spoon and I'm going to sell it for $300 and someone would buy it.
maybe. But then I'd be spoonless. I did film a video in New York, and and I forgot to bring the spoon. So I used that little wooden stirry thing that you get at coffee shops.
Oh,
And,
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, my viewers were not impressed. They really thought I'd let the whole side down by forgetting the spoon. So
You were outside the AM&H, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is a crazy place. And one of my viewers got me in for free and gave me and my friends a guided tour. So that was great.
Nice.
You hear that, Caleb Welch? We need you to watch all of Stefan's videos and tell us which one he's spoonless in from now until eternity.
Yeah, well, I was thinking for merch, I could draw the spoon mic on a shirt and have audio file written underneath it or something. I don't know.
Dude, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
I think you need to invent the spoon mic, which is a mic that is exactly shaped as a spoon.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the microphone shapes are pretty scientifically solid.
I'll get out of here with your science.
A spoon one. All right, I'm done. I used to work at the AM&H, no big deal. But anyway, the second question? Second one was what did you want to talk about today? We had an interesting topic last night, right?
Yeah. So whilst I've got 3 esteemed archaeologists on the phone, I wanted
esteemed?
to esteemed. Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. So I had this idea for a video. I was like, what can I do to get into the mindset of these Paleolithic people that used to roam the earth? And I thought, I know, I'll go and stay in a cave for 3 days or 5 days or something like that. And then I thought, well, that's kind of dangerous. There's bears and mountain lions. Maybe I should take a gun because this is America after all. So I thought I'll take a gun. And then, obviously guns, unless you read Graham Hancock books, they didn't exist in the Paleolithic. So what would I gain would it ruin the experience taking a gun? And then I thought, well, I'm also not wearing the same clothes as them. I'm also not eating the same food as them. And at any moment I get too uncomfortable, I can just go home. So, how could I have really ever gotten into the mindset of people that lived deep in prehistory? And so that got me thinking about the limits of experimental archaeology, basically. How far can we understand the people that lived in the past on a sort of personal level, if you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I guess Donnie Dust is kind of doing like that, but he's not doing it with an archaeological.
Oh, dude, I'm texting him right now this question, asking him yo, how do you get into the mindset? So stay tuned.
Yeah. Because I'm sure, as you guys know, and a lot of your listeners know, experimental archaeology is maybe great for finding patterns of wear in tools and stuff like that. But how does it... I don't know, maybe I'm just spending too much time in Portland, Oregon, but how can I get into the mindset of these people? Do you know what I mean?
I have a suggestion, I guess. I don't want to take time away from the other guys, but my cultural anthropology professor in grad school, when I was writing a paper, kept suggesting and then imploring and then demanding, and then it was required for me to read this book, and I was like, okay, guess I will. And it was called How Forests Think, and it is by Eduardo Kohn, I believe, Kohn. And it was called, I just said it, How Forests Think, and it's called about the ontological turn. And that's a kind of a paradigm in archaeology now, or in anthropology. And what it is in order to fully understand the people that, if you're an ethnographer hanging out with a bunch of Aboriginal Australians, or I think in the book they used people in Brazil, in the jungles. And you have to understand how they think about the world, and this tribe they were with believe the trees communicate with dogs, and the dogs can communicate with the sand and weird stuff like that, or it's not weird but weird to us. And by understanding that, then you can therefore have a better understanding of their culture. And it was kind of a mind blow for me. I was like, what? And then some of it went way over my head, but in the thing, the people would blow ayahuasca into the dog's snout, and then speak in a mother tongue to it and be you will not pee in the shed and like weird stuff. But because of that, like it had something to do with like the plants could communicate and like in that state they could anyway. But to get yourself into the mindset, I'm not suggesting we do ayahuasca, but it might be a thing.
I'm down.
Yeah.
But that book, I would check it out.
That's interesting. But I imagine those things are very culturally specific, and it's probably too subtle for any of that to appear in the archaeological record, especially if we were talking about the Paleolithic
Europe. Yeah. So I think it brings us back to what you said. It might be, there's a limit. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like people today and prehistoric peoples of the past, like they have more than just a physical toolkit, but like a mental toolkit. So, I mean, to like get yourself in the mindset of like a prehistoric person, you kind of have to like erase knowledge that you have already acquired, right? Because it's knowledge isn't singular, it's stacked, if that makes any sense. Like it's built upon. So like our knowledge is based on over 8,000 years of well, more than that, like hundreds of thousands of years of data that our ancestors have been collecting and passing down. So I don't know. It's like, it's tough, right? And as you said, Stefan, like these things don't last in the archaeological record. What we get are tools, and then maybe what their, how their houses were laid out. Sometimes we don't even know what their houses were made of. We just see the post holes, and we just kind of have to guess, what the shelter was. So, dude, I don't know. It's a tough question, right? Because
I don't know, even using like modern day hunter gatherers as kind of these proxies is still filled with those kind of similar problems where we are assuming that these, or in some cases, at least like early folks getting into the field, we're assuming that these are like exactly how hunter gatherers lived like 10,000 years ago or whatnot. Yeah, it's super difficult. We can't just erase these hundreds of thousands of years of knowledge that's been selected upon that literally made us humans, Yeah, I agree, Carlton, man.
Yeah, because again, to go back to the cave analogy, I was thinking, for example, Folsom Cave here in Oregon has some radiocarbon dated finds that were probably sort of 14,000, maybe a little bit older years old, like very early in the human occupation of the Americas. To them, sleeping in a cave might have been fantastic compared to the alternative. But to me, straight from the get-go, I'm looking at it almost kind of horrified. Like I'm almost just doing this because it's going to make like a good YouTube video. And so like from the very outset, our perspectives are polar opposites. Yeah, I mean, I haven't slept in a cave, so I haven't found a way to get over this hurdle. And maybe, like you said, maybe it's not even possible.
Well, I mean, it's also like these people were also in groups, so they wouldn't have been sleeping in caves by themselves most of their time, anyways. Like, there's comfort in being with other people, right? So, like, in order to really try to do this experiment of like how like living like a prehistoric person, you need like a group of people. And I guess like archaeologists and ancient tech people would probably be the best equipped, because even though we have modern knowledge, we also know of some of the skill sets that Aboriginal people use and prehistoric people used as like kind of a baseline for, how to maybe get it done. But like, as you said earlier, if it gets too hard, you could always just go home and stop by McDonald's on the way. And that's just not that just wasn't an option back then.
Yeah. So what you're saying is all four of us should do it.
I'm thinking that you,
forever.
Like Stefan Milo and A Life in Ruins and Ethnocynology do a team up with Donnie Dust where he just takes us into the woods and we just cry the whole time.
Dude, I would be so down for that.
Then we can figure out what it was like to live back then while he just eats meat in the corner laughing.
The only thing I would ask for is booze. Otherwise, I wouldn't make it.
We'll ferment some berries, dude.
Yeah, or your own piss.
Or own piss.
We should get Caleb Welch on board, and he can be our stick gathering boy.
This is all getting very Lord of the Flies very quickly.
It did.
In
Who
a
has
mere
the
10
conch?
seconds.
Who has
Yeah.
the conch?
Here's one though. I don't know if I told you guys this. I told people at work, and they were like, "Okay, weird." So I built a cave wall, and I was painting the cave art on it, and I have the lights flickering, and I put didgeridoo music on. This is gonna sound real weird. I'm weird, and then I'm doing it in there, and or not doing it. I'm painting the wall, and I was blowing the paint or the pigment from like a bowl and a straw to blow like the ochre hand spray on my hand onto the wall. And as I did that, it makes this really weird like whistling sound. If you were to blow into like a straw in a soda cup, it would do that. It made that sound, and then like you're getting lightheaded, and then the stuff is like moving on the walls because it's like flickering, you know? And I was thinking like, man, if I was in Paleolithic France or Spain and this was happening, this would be the trippiest thing ever, or this would be like the coolest experience ever. So I didn't even go into that making an experimental archaeology thought. I just went into it because I was like, I'm going to paint this dope cave wall. But I ended up doing experimental archaeology, and I was like, whoa. So I learned something from it. And that's why they probably had all those like instruments in there, and they probably thought they were doing trances and whatnot. And I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
I would say that's more experiential.
That sounds like some post-processual bullshit.
Yeah, get out of here. No, I feel like now we can say that we do experiential archaeology. You know, where we try to where we try to replicate these kind of moments in time to say, hey, which is totally on that post-processualist bullshit sort of thing.
I don't know. Bullshit.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, you could do it and just be like, this is what happened to me, and it's possible to happen to people in the past. And that is a perfectly fine conclusion.
Yeah.
Now, just do that and be like, this is exactly how people experienced it. It's like, no, that's not okay. But I would trust you wouldn't do that, David.
Yeah. Stefan, what's like a question you have that you would like to answer, like by doing experimental archaeology?
I don't know, really. I
just to know what they felt like, or
so I'm just sort of fascinated really by people's I just wish I could sort of chat to them, really. I just really would love to understand them. This is why I'm really keen on my sources in my videos, and I really try and do the research. I'm not so interested in speculating, because we could say anything about any time period. Like, I really want to try and understand these people, and I really care about what we can definitively can or can't say, you know. This is why I don't like all the speculation that's in like pseudo archaeology and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just fascinated by these people. For example, my next video, or one I'm researching at the minute, is on a Neolithic cave in the south of Italy called Grotta Scaloria. And the cave is basically two chambers connected by this long, narrow chamber that you would have to crawl through. And in the first huge chamber, there are 120 people buried there, and their bones are pretty much smashed to bits. And then you would have to crawl through this very narrow chamber in the dark with maybe like a small lamp or something. That would be your only source of light. And then in this huge second chamber, there's a lake, and they cut the top off stalagmites and put pottery on there to collect water dripping from the top of the cave. And there was like one skull placed in the wall. That's just mental. I just want to understand what these guys were thinking. I just really want to understand them. And anything I can do to do that, whether it's like with research or sleeping in a cave with 50 rifles and 10 hamburgers just to keep me safe. I just want to do it, you know. It's the thing I'm most interested in. So,
all right. On that note, what did we learn this section? The younger was dry as fuck, or maybe not. Is that? Am I reading that right?
Yep. Yep. Perfect. And we'll be back with segment 3.
What?
All right. Welcome back to episode 20 of A Life in Ruins podcast. also known as the show where Connor makes shitty jokes that he's going to have to explain on the next section. It was a joke about the younger dryas. The younger dry as fuck. Okay. Settled.
Thank you, Connor. So can I define these terms real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Just so, because we got so excited talking with our friend Stefan, just for our audience real quick, experimental archaeology is a field of study which attempts to generate and test archaeological hypotheses, usually by replicating or approximating the feasibility of ancient cultures performing various tasks or feats. It employs a number of methods, techniques, analyses, and approaches based upon archaeological source material such as ancient structures or artifacts. So that is experimental archaeology. And for a little archaeology theory inside joke, post-processual archaeology is sometimes or alternatively referred to as interpretive archaeology by its adherents. It's a movement in archaeological theory that emphasizes the subjectivity of archaeological interpretations. Despite having a vague series of similarities, post-processualism consists of very diverse strands of thought coalesced into loose cluster of traditions. Within the post-processualist movement, a wide variety of theoretical viewpoints have been embraced, including structuralism and neo-Marxism, as have a variety of different archaeological techniques, such as phenomenology. So, yep.
Yeah, and I want to clarify. Yeah, I want to clarify my statement on the post-processualism. It's not bullshit, but there is some theories and methods that can be questionable as part of that, but everyone has their own opinions about processualism, post-processualism, and theory is theory. But yeah, thanks for those definitions.
Oh shit, Donnie just got back to me. So I asked Donnie, when you started going out into the bush, did you try and get yourself into the mindset of a prehistoric person? His response was, I did. My goal was to totally rely on nature. I accepted everything I could, and when need will come from nature, I really focused on priorities of living, safety, shelter, fire, food, and water. Once those are solved or not a necessity, other abilities develop. It's a journey for sure. And now he's asking me if I want to live a little bit more wild. So I'm going to take him up on that offer. Continue, Connor.
I was just going to ask if, Stefan, you've participated in any sort of experimental archaeology besides the cave venture, and what would you want to do?
Yeah, so when I was at Sheffield University, we did build a replica of an Iron Age roundhouse using only hand tools that they would have had available. So that was pretty fun. I'm not sure what I learned from it, but it was definitely an enjoyable couple of weeks.
Building stuff is hard.
Yeah, exactly. The sure would be easier with a power drill sort of perspective. I don't know. I was just sort of the reason that I thought about sleeping in a cave is that it's something that was accessible to anyone with a cave. I was just sort of thinking of video ideas that anyone could do at home. Someone watching my video could try and do it themselves to help understand the people of the past a little bit better. So I don't know if you guys have any other ideas about easy things you could do. I did read on Twitter this guy I follow whose name I can't remember baked bread using Egyptian yeast, Egyptian wheat, and baked it how they would do it. So that was really interesting. But that's the whole philosophy behind that cave video, is something that ordinary people could do at home to try and understand the people in the past.
One thing I try to do, especially if I get like an Amazon box or something that I have to cut, I'll like go right to like my stone tools that are sitting on the counter, and I'll like cut with stone tools. But I've thought about like, what if I could do, well, now I'm thinking about it, like, could I just go a whole week and anytime I had to cut something, just use a stone tool? Like, don't use a knife, don't use, like, for meat, for vegetables. It'd probably change your perceptions a little bit of like how it works.
Dude, could you imagine getting a piece of obsidian like broken off into your meat and swallowing that thing?
Yeah, I would use like quartzite. I'm not gonna go right for the big stuff.
Yeah, I did actually think of trying to find like a friendly local butcher and giving them stone tools to butcher an animal to get their perspective from it, because somebody in the past would have done it extremely often. So I've never butchered an animal in my life, so it's going to be hard for me whether I'm using a chainsaw or a hand axe. But a butcher who is very comfortable doing it, their insight on how to use those stone tools might be interesting.
Yeah.
No, dude, that makes a lot of sense. This little known fact about me, I was actually an apprentice meat cutter when I was in community college before I did the whole insurance gig. So like when I'm butchering an animal with like stone tools and stuff, like I kind of have that background knowledge of how to slice meat in ways, if that makes any sense. And I definitely rely on that when I'm doing things. So it's not like I've never butchered an animal before, have that background where I'm just like with a stone tool and a dead animal. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'd just be there like trying to cut its ankle off or something with an arrowhead. Like, it's not working.
You could just snap those off, dude. That's what Devin does. You just take those ankles and you just break them in half and toss them aside.
Wow.
Did I ever tell you guys the story of the taphonomy project I had to do in undergrad with the deer?
No, dude.
I'll be quick about it, but it was experimental class and experimental zooarchaeology. And what I was trying to do was cook half of a deer and boil half of a deer. And I wanted to see which ones scavengers preferred more, or like what they got to first. But to do that, I had to cut up a roadkill deer that was in the Zoark freezer. And Dr. Klippel at UT, who was an old Southern man, was like, here's a knife, here's the deer, here's a sink, don't make a mess. And I was like, okay. And I did not know a thing about butchering an animal. So I was like, and I had this giant deer that was frozen. So I had like saws and I had some knives, and I was like, okay, well, I've watched Dexter, so what would I do? And then I was like, well, I guess you have to drain the blood out. So then I like slit the deer's like throat, trying to like drain the blood over the sink. And then Dr. Klippel came back in, and I was just kind of like aimlessly like pacing around, like what, nothing's happening. And then he just comes in and he's like, how's it going? And then he just looks at me, looks at the deer, and then looks back at me. And I tried to step in front of where I just slit the deer's throat, and he was like, yeah, that's not what you do. And then he like went in and like showed me how to do it. And man, I just ended up sawing it in half because it was basically just ice. But
did he refer to you as a serial killer from there on out?
But that was another funny thing. It was in an old like frat house type building, like on the old part of campus. And I stood outside like getting like some air because it just stinks in there. There was a rotting baboon like next to me. So I was like, ugh. And I was outside on the porch, and these like frat guys are like walking by going to their place. And I'm out there like covered in blood with like Dexter COVID-19 looking clothes on. And I was just like, hey guys, it's like standing out there. It's like, it's good stuff. Anyway, so that was experimental. I learned not what to do.
Cool story, bro.
Well,
You guys
Drain the blood from a frozen animal.
No, at CSU, they had a whole, where I did my undergraduate, they had a whole class just in experimental archaeology taught by Dr. Richard Adams. And I wasn't able to take it, but some of the experiments they did were super interesting. A girl like ground corn to see on, oh my God, it was insane. She had like grind corn in one direction. It was just absolutely crazy. I don't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, grinding corn would be awful. They did all kinds of stuff like that, and it's super interesting. And you, David, you did part of your thesis is on that, right? Or is on experimental archaeology?
Yeah, I mean, like I guess the whole thing kind of was, but yeah,
It was sciencey as fuck.
Yeah, we did talk about it. Yeah, I got the point sitting right behind me on the wall, and the ballistics gels now got a bunch of dead ants glued to it in the garage. So because it like melts and the ants want to eat it, I guess. I don't know. But
What were you shooting?
I had these 30 obsidian projectile points that were like really small and really big, like in varying size. And I was just shooting them from a bow into the ballistics gel, like testing penetration and whatnot, and velocity. Yeah.
And you had to get like a friggin' rig all welded together. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Man.
It's like a cool like mechanical machine that like I could click the button and it would shoot the arrow into it. So I like eliminated the human error. It was really fun. and I was trying to basically prove that Clovis people could have been using bows and arrows. Like, was it feasible to shoot a big Clovis-sized point with a bow? And the thesis says, yeah, it is, but I still don't know if they were.
And did it give you that inside look on how they killed the Cerruti mastodon 150,000 years ago?
Apparently with a bulldozer.
Yeah.
I've held those things, man. It's old, but those ain't tools.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
That's my official stance.
Oh, Cerruti.
Well, and for those, I guess for our listeners who might not know what that is, that's the super hyped up 100,000-year-old, 120,000-year-old, supposedly modified mastodon bone unearthed in California, which has very questionable marks on it.
Yeah. It was unearthed during the construction of a freeway, or at least a road.
Yeah, it was
road expansion, I think.
Yeah,
like the worst possible scenario.
Yes. Yes. Again, that more than likely these crushed up mastodon bones were definitely the result of human activity, but not 120,000 years ago, but of 2 years ago, or 20 years ago now, I guess, from a bulldozer. So, yeah, Steve Holland, he was the archaeologist. He has a knack for finding old sites, interestingly enough. So, I don't know, dude. I honestly read the goddamn article and then read what everyone else says about it, because it's just not possible.
Do you guys here's another question, and it's totally unconnected to experimental archaeology, so I hope the listeners enjoyed that conversation. but what are some other fringe theories that would make a good YouTube video?
I mean, there's tons, man.
I've been looking into the cocaine mummies.
What?
The 10 Egyptian mummies that tested positive for cocaine.
Well, we know what the lab manager was doing.
Yeah.
Case closed. Someone sneezed while doing a line, man.
Exactly. Well, they were in a royal German palace for most of the 19th century, or at least a fair portion of it.
That's definitely
in the 19th century. Yeah.
Oh boy.
You could just go into a shop and just buy cocaine. And so it could have happened then, I wonder. But
dude, I mean because Egyptian mummies, God knows how old. It comes from the cacao plant, or what does cocaine come from?
Coca.
The coca.
Yeah.
Is it coca or the cacao, or is that the same thing?
Cacao is chocolate.
Oh yeah. So yeah, coca plant in South America.
Yeah, but here's the thing. In my research, plants in both Africa and India contain cocaine, just at much smaller levels. So it's not very good if you were to start a drug cartel. But if an Egyptian mummy did test positive for cocaine, it is still not necessarily proof that they sailed to America and got it.
Case closed.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Another one, you could look up the Meadowcroft rock shelter, do a video on that. That was excavated by Adavazio, who has a rather interesting reputation in our field. It was dug up in the 70s or the 60s, and he's never published on it, although it's supposedly one of the oldest sites in the Americas, and it's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a 50,000-year-old paleo or pre-Clovis site. And I believe it's right in the middle of an anthracite coal mine. So,
yeah, I've actually visited it. The guy that got me into archaeology back in community college was his grad student. It's an interesting site that there's nothing published on it. Although, Adavazio claims it's, a 15,000-year-old site, or 17,000. I think it's 17,000 years old to 1500 BCE. So.
Oh, the bog mummies that stupid friggin' huge guy messaged me on my account. Then he sent me archaeologystuff.net as his source, and I was like, cool. And the Windover bog bodies there was, and he was trying to say that they're descendants of Adam and stuff, and I was like, you can get right out of here, man. And they're giants, but I've never seen anything about giants there. They're just bog bodies that were buried there. Like, I don't know. There's that one. Giants. I always get people asking me about giants, especially in Nashville. I guess because it's like the Bible Belt. I don't know, like what the deal with that is, but
isn't there something in the Bible? I might be getting my religious books wrong, but there's like, is it like the Anunnaki or something like that? Which are the giants?
That's in the that's the pseudo archaeologist Bible, Chariot of the Gods. I think it's mentioned.
Is it? I mean, the Philistines are supposed to be too, I think, right? Yeah.
The giants. They just punched the Saruti mastodon to death because they were giants. They didn't need bow and arrows. They just sucker punched it.
Awkward because they'll be like, "Oh, you're an archaeologist," and I'm like, "Yeah," and then like, "What do you think about those giants?" And it just ends the conversation because I'm like, I don't, I don't think about the giants because they're not real.
Dude, ever since we did that Instagram post where I had that guy at the leather store try to tell me about giants, and I tagged my cousin who runs the American Indian Museum in DC, he's always sending me giant shit to tease me.
Oh, well, he's part of the cover-up, isn't he?
He's part of the cabal. He's the head guy. He knows all about them. He's seen them.
Yeah, we can openly say that here because only archaeologists listen to this, so we're all in on the scam.
Yes, all tens of thousands of archaeologists getting paid dirt are all in on this underground, super secret, doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
God, getting me worked up.
You've had some interesting comments on there. Is there one particularly that you like want to share that was funny? I remember one of them I had to comment on. I can't remember what it was, but
on my videos?
Yeah, someone was calling you something and I went in and I was like, "Oh, actually he's like he knows what he's talking about." I don't
I mean,
I'm sure you get many.
I had like compiled this bunch of comments and I was going to read them out at the end of the year, but it just became too many. Like, just too many people calling me a moron and an idiot and a shill.
A shill, that was what it was. Yeah.
They in the Younger Dryas video, someone was calling me like a dangerous psychopath or something like that. Like I'm like corrupting the youth of America by presenting this information. It was pretty odd.
Jesus.
But someone came to my defense and was like, obviously he's not a dangerous psychopath. That says more about you than it does him.
Yeah.
So shout out to that guy.
Well, good stuff, dude. Stefan, it was awesome having you on the podcast. We're a huge fan of yours. Where can our listeners find you?
You can go to youtube.com/Stefan Milo, STEFANMILO. Yeah, just go watch a video and don't skip the advert.
And you also have an Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram and Twitter at History Smilo, because apparently there's another Stefan Milo somewhere.
Oh, fuck that guy. Well, awesome. We will definitely put those in the show notes for our listeners to find you at. Follow you on Instagram and Twitter and check out, dude, you're awesome videos. Connor, take it away.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for joining us. And if given the chance again, and because this is a Life in Ruins, would you still choose to film a Life in Ruins?
Yeah, sure.
That wasn't even a sentence. That was not even a sentence. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, we just interviewed Stefan Milo, an archaeologist and YouTuber, and that is it for episode 20. The big 2-0, boys. We got the 20 episodes that have been shut down. All right.
In the month of April.
I know. Oh, God. Yeah, dude. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace. Thanks for listening to A Life in Ruins podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Life in Ruins Podcast, and you can also email us at alifeinruinspodcast@gmail.com.
And remember, make sure to bring your archaeologists in from the cold and feed them beer. This is not a joke I wrote myself, so direct your hate towards the internet. Gentlemen, what do you get in a 5-star pyramid?
What?
A tomb with a view.
Oh, God damn it.
I really thought you were going to be like, the truth.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Thank you, Connor, as always.
This show is produced by the Archaeology Podcast Network, Chris Webster and Tristan Boyle in Reno, Nevada at the Reno Collective.
This has been a presentation of the Archaeology Podcast Network. Visit us on the web for show notes and other podcasts at www.archpodnet.com. Contact us at chris@archaeologypodcastnetwork.com.
Christ, that was painful. I'm so sorry.